really need to be concerned about as we get older, as our friends get older. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest issues, we don't realize we're getting older. We don't realize, we still feel like we're 25 years old. I know I do, but all of a sudden the aches and the pains start and you don't realize something's happening. And those falls happen also because we've been in our homes, we've kind of become complacent, we know our house, but we don't notice that tear in the rug, or we don't notice that loose step outside. So all of a sudden these things creep up, and it just takes one life-changing moment. You wake up, you have a fall, and everything changes. So we need to be aware that what are some of the things that we need to start looking about, not just for ourselves, our spouses, or our friends, but we need to look at those changes becoming forgetful. Looking at our friend's home or our parents' home and saying, is everything in the refrigerator still good? Are we letting things get by? Have we had a car accident recently? These are all the things that start happening. The other issue is we cover for our spouses. I'm dealing with this, my friends have dealt with this. We don't want to be a burden on our children. We don't want to be a burden on our siblings. We're fine. We don't need any help. And no, my husband's fine. Oh no, he's a little forgetful. It's fine. It's not fine. And we really need to start looking at this as a community as well. So one of the services that I provide and my husband Greg provides, we go into homes and we do home assessments. In the tri-state area, we will look at homes from everything from emergency evacuation systems. Do we really know what we're going to do in a fire? One of the biggest things we always tell people is it's not enough to just have an evacuation plan. You need to practice that plan once a month. And what that means is not just knowing where the exits are, crawl to the exit and count how many hands and feet it takes to get to that exit. Because in a fire, with the smoke, you're not going to see it. You need to memorize how many crawls it's going to take to get to an exit. The other thing is when you look around your home for the fire detectors, it's not enough to have them outside your bedroom. If you sleep with your bedroom door closed, you need a smoke detector inside your bedroom as well. And invest in one of those ladders because you don't want to practice it, but if there's a fire and you can't get out of your bedroom and you're on a second floor, you need to have a ladder to be able to get out of the house. One of the things that I didn't realize, there's a great program called Current Safe. It's in Long Island, but they come up here. 9 out of 10 homes have fire problems behind the walls. I never realized that. Even in newer construction homes, electrical hazards. There was a home in Dix Hills 2 years ago. The woman turned on her outlet in her walk-in closet. The entire house went up in flames. So some of the things that you can look at, if you have a lot of times where you turn on your hairdryer and the light's dim, chances are you've got a problem behind the walls. If you have a short circuit, you constantly are having your short circuit go out, there could be a problem. If you feel your outlets and they feel warm to the touch, there could be a problem behind the walls. Everything I'm talking about, by the way, today, I have resource information, I have links, but this is a great program called Current Safe. They will come in with infrared machinery and literally check behind your walls if there's a problem. I don't know about you, but that fire in Stamford over Christmas it was devastating to that poor family. And there was another one down the street from us in Wilton about 2 months later. So this is something you really need to think about. In speaking about fires, make sure you have at least 2 fire extinguishers in your home. Keep one by your kitchen, one down by your fireplace or anything like that. The problem with fire extinguishers are you can't practice with them. Once you try it once, it's no longer good. The most important thing with kitchen fires, especially if you have a grease fire, never try to put it out with water. Water will actually make it spread. You want to have a tight-fitting lid, ready to go at any moment, and baking soda. Baking soda is the only way to put out a kitchen grease fire. You can't even use a fire extinguisher because it'll spread the flames. So have a tight lid. One of the worst things, too, is if you're cooking and you have even like a loose thing like this, it could catch, so make sure that you have, any clothes that you're wearing are tight-fitting when you're cooking. Just have that ready to go. And this is nothing about seniors because I know I forget. If you are cooking, even for a second, set an alarm. It's so easy to be, cooking, frying up sausages, frying up something, and you walk away for a second to answer a phone. It's so easy to forget. So set a timer whenever you're doing something. One of the other things I talk about too is if you are living with several people in the home, have a plan where you're going to meet if you do have a fire. You know, we hear these tragedies of somebody thinking that somebody else was going to get the family pet or an animal. Decide ahead of time who is going to get each person in the family and where you're going to meet outside of the house. So tell a neighbor they are your place. If there's a fire, you're going to meet at their house so that you know where everybody is, because that's when the chaos happens. Have a plan, practice the plan, and explain the plan. If you're having, a babysitter over or something like that, make sure everybody knows the plan. It's also important to have the smoke detectors and the CO detectors interconnected. What that means is, if you have one down in your basement, make sure it's hardwired to your bedrooms and your other ones, because if a fire starts downstairs, there was a tragedy recently where there was a candle that got knocked over in somebody's basement. They did not get the alert because they were upstairs on the 3rd floor. They had no idea, and the entire basement was engulfed in flames because it caught on the curtains. So you want to make sure that all of your smoke detectors are interconnected and change those batteries. Change them all the time. I don't know how many of you have this, but a lot of people have the automatic car starters on their keychains. Be very careful about that. It's very easy if you have a grandchild coming over or anybody coming over to accidentally hit that starter. Your car is in the garage door is closed, CO poisoning happens immediately. So make sure you know where those are at all times. We talk about grandkids coming over. All of us take a lot of medication, myself included. One of the challenges is, first of all, make sure you always use the same pharmacist so that they know if there is an interaction. But keep everything in the original. I know a lot of people have the pill boxes, so you know what pills you're taking whenever you are. It's very easy for them to fall. Pills get on the floor. Kids can get into pills. This is the way the accidental poisonings are happening. So there are lock boxes for the pills. Look into those. It's a great investment because you want to make sure you're remembering to take them, but you also want to make sure they're safe. It's just too easy. I've had pills fall on the floor and I'm just searching around constantly for them. So make sure you know where all of them are. One of the things about falls too, a lot of times in older homes, it's very slippery outside like today. You have tile down. It's great to get treads or something on inside and outside stairs. So many times too, we have our stair railings where there's not a connection to the return. I'll be carrying my purse. That purse gets attached to the stair rail. Down you go. So make sure that you have a return on it. Have treads on all the stairs, inside and outside. And also, there's really great lighting you can put on the stairs. You can go to Home Depot. It's automatic lighting that will turn on underneath the stairs. You want to keep them well lit. So if you only have an outlet, an on-off switch on the bottom, get another one on the top, or get automatic lighting that goes on. One of the things we talk about too with falls, it gets very difficult to get in and out of chairs. I mean, it's sometimes hard. You got those nice comfy chairs. So we talk about raising the furniture so it's easier to get up, get down. Rearrange your linen closets. I'm a big one for not doing my spring cleaning, and all of a sudden my linen closet is a mess. But the things that you use frequently, put them on the bottom shelf so you're not constantly reaching up for all of those things. Have a sturdy step stool in the kitchen if you're going to be climbing, and have a phone installed low to the ground. So if you fall, you can actually call someone for help. So have a phone that you can reach if you are on the ground. I work a lot with ADT. They have something like the Life Alert system, and it's really good to have. It's one flick of a button, and if there is an emergency, you can get help. I strongly suggest putting any sort of medication in, any information that you need in terms of crisis information and a phone number laminated on your refrigerator and your bathroom. So if you fall or you're rendered unconscious, any first responders immediately will know what sort of medical issues you have, and they can treat you properly. Another thing too, and my friend Lori's here, and she'll talk more about the legal issues from that, but make sure you have all your papers in order. If you want, medical treatment, you need to make sure that anybody that is caring for you or a friend has authorization. So if you're living alone, make sure a neighbor, a trusted neighbor, has the authority to seek medical attention for you, because somebody needs to make those decisions, and you need to have that personal relationship. Fires too, with candles, there's so many times we forget. It's so easy to forget. They have great new battery-operated candles. They smell lovely. than any other light bulb. If it accidentally falls over and touches a bedspread, touches curtains, they will ignite immediately. So get halogen lamps out of the house. It's absolutely necessary. Depression, it's very difficult, you know, when we're talking about how do we all of a sudden start recognizing a friend might need help, or we might need help, or a family member might need help. Depression looks different in seniors. Many times they will not say that they feel depressed. Rather, it manifests itself as aches and pains or extreme anxiety about what's going on in the world. So you need to start being aware if you have a neighbor or an older adult that is showing these signs. It might not necessarily be what you think. It could be depression. The other problem, again, is medication. If they're not talking to their doctor, you know, a generation before us, people didn't understand mental health as well, and it was a stigma, and they didn't talk about it. A lot of times they won't bring it up to their doctor.